like to think is happening, and what I sort of feel is happening, is a shift towards a sort of a greater level of global consciousness.
Change is happening so fast that the fear is I just can't take any of it in. And the trick is jump in. You won't sink, you'll swim.
There's a shift taking place at the moment. That's why I've come to the Shift Happens conference.
You know, we're not going to go back in the analog box. Whether we like it or not, the future is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it happens with us or without us, but we have that choice to make.
A lot of these tools that had previously been conceived as being quite radical in terms of like grassroots empowerment are now becoming the mainstream.
Traditionally, you would have to go to a gatekeeper to allow them to tell your story. I'm talking traditional print and PR and radio and TV and stuff. But now anybody can have a global voice instantly.
If you think of the Industrial Revolution, which you mentioned earlier, that wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just the steam engine. It was lots of things happening at the same time. And what we've got now is we've got lots of waves of change, small ones, which are building up to what I would describe as a tsunami.
I think that the world of digital media it's changed so much over the last 20 years, not just this small period when Facebook and Twitter has been about, and it will continue to change, but it's going to take a long time before everyone's on the same wavelength.
It's less about this sort of one-directional business model where you just mass produce something and people mass consume it. It's much more about a kind of ecosystem of people working together, you know, audiences working with organisations.
Well, I think there's been a fantastic number of changes that have been taking place, and I think mostly, in fact, those changes have been creatively, and I think it's about art forms coming together, and I think it's about artists seeing the possibilities of using technology in their work.
Well, I think there are different ways of thinking about what this big shift is. Part of it is a shift towards a much more open, probably certainly collaborative culture, which is more like a culture of with, where people can do things with organisations, with one another, rather than just getting things from people or having them delivered to you.
We're living in a logarithmic world, exponentially growing around us, and yet as humans we think in a linear fashion. We tend to overestimate what's going to happen in the next 2 years, and we underestimate by a long way what's going to happen in the next 10.